Hi everyone, this is Nadia, award-winning author, award-winning mentor, clairsentient psychic, and founder at Spartanite. And today's round we are going to be covering, we're kind of like 3 deep in the Money Myth Spartanite series. And today's Money Myth number 4 is, and most of you have always heard this, rich people are greedy, they're selfish, they're mean, they don't think about anybody else apart from themselves. So in essentially, they're self-centered and they don't care about anything else. Okay, so this is a limiting or disempowering belief that stops a lot of people becoming successful. Greed can be in any area of your life. Greed can be somebody that doesn't have enough, somebody that has more than plenty. Greed, it's got really nothing to do with money, if anything. In fact, when I look at greed as an occultist and as an entrepreneur, but more an occultist, or maybe looking at it from a psychic perspective, greed actually comes from lack consciousness. Let me explain, because I've seen this situation so many times that it's kind of like the perfect way to put it into practice. So I've known men that are extremely financially successful. I'm talking multiple 6 figures on the table on different businesses, multiple 7 figures, whatever it is. That's wonderful, they expand. But at the core, when I've truly sat with them, at the core, maybe I've had lunch or dinner or breakfast, or we've just grabbed a drink or something, there is this huge gaping hole in their heart. And that's the reason they've turned to money. Because as you and I both know watching this, money can solve a lot of your problems. Money will solve a lot of your problems. And throw money at over 90% of your issues right now, and they'll be fixed. Okay, that still leaves the 10% though. Now, this whole myth of rich people are greedy, they don't think about anybody else. Again, just like the last series, it just doesn't come out of nowhere. But what I want to say is that traditionally, I've seen wealthy people make a lot of contributions. They set up, I was about to say charities, but there's that as well. They set up businesses where people work. So they obviously employ people, workforce. They provide jobs. They're generally quite giving with their money. There's a serious problem with somebody who has money and is not giving to the point of insanity and stupidity, but the person who is just not at ease with their money, because that's lack consciousness. So I go back to what I'm saying. So when this whole greed thing comes, greed is actually scarcity. It's actually a survival mentality, and really has nothing to do with what is in one's bank account. I've seen people who haven't made all that much. They haven't got much in their account, but you know what? They're satiated. It's not because they're happy that they don't have it. They're not trying to hungrily pursue something to fill up that lack inside, because there's an old saying by the comedian George Carlin, may God rest his soul, and he always says that you can't solve hunger by taping sandwiches to your body. Now, I remember reading this, it was like a post or something. I think it was in the Daily Mail, and the media has a habit of just bashing everybody that has money or has fame, and that's part of being successful. That's, if people are not trying to criticize you or say something about you, you need to up your game, basically. So I think there was someone who had done something, or they had spent X amount of money somewhere, and I could hear all the bitter people in the comments underneath. Oh, it's okay for some, all like the broke rhetoric. Like, it's just painful. Like, when you read it, it's just absolutely painful. Why, there's so much greed and there's so much poverty in the world, blah blah. Well, why are you not doing something about it then? I still remember having this conversation with somebody very close to me, and she said, oh well, why don't the rich always help the poor? I said, why don't the poor help themselves? I'm not saying that if you have money, you're not supposed to help other people. The point is that when you've satiated yourself, there's only so much you can have for yourself, and then you think, okay, what philanthropic or charitable cause, what can I do for other people? That's good. Like, Spartanite itself is a company that's based on giving. Yeah, it has monetary exchange, but the point is that I feel happy and I feel satiated when people buy from me, not just because I receive money, but because I'm making a difference in people's lives. It's making a tangible difference. there is this pejorative and collective belief amongst people who struggle with money that it is the job of the wealthy to come and save them from lack consciousness, from a place of I don't think it's enough. And when people are either born into lack, they're born into a poor household, they're born into scarcity, what ends up happening is they become resentful and they hate money. Because they want money so much in their life, they end up hating it. I covered this in pointer 3 when I was kind of like smacking the notes. And some of you guys commented saying that you really liked the video, whether it was through private message or commenting underneath. It's important for us to understand that greed is basically somebody that comes from scarcity. It's not about what's in your bank account. It's not about what you own or what you don't own. It's greed comes from a point where when you in your soul feel like it's never enough. That's got nothing to do with money. But it's very convenient. It's a very big limiting belief that a lot of people who struggle with money have. Rich people are greedy. Rich people are selfish. Rich people are mean. Rich people are evil. They only think about themselves. Okay, let me try and explain this from a person's perspective who would have money. Or has money. So you've worked very diligently, and most wealthy people that I've known, some have been born into wealth. That's different, obviously, and I still see them trying. But a lot of us have just had to really buckle down and work pretty hard, and I want to cover that work hard as well, a bit as well. And just apply ourselves and be strategic about things. And that's really all it is. There's no like hidden secret. It's just application. Take an idea, apply it, be persistent with it. Be persistent even when you don't see it working, and it will work. But you have to change your mentality towards it. There are so many people in this world who simply see money as this curse, this. I used to have a friend who used to say, oh, money's a necessary evil. I said, why do you think it's evil? But interestingly enough, he was always struggling for money. There was never a time that I would call him or phone him or text him or see him that he wasn't struggling for money. And I was just a bit like, yeah, that's because that's your limiting belief. And he always had this hatred towards the rich, the hatred towards, I hate capitalism, I hate this. First of all, I want to cover a quick round and say that if you have a business, if you're going into business, you can't afford to hate capitalism because capitalism actually makes your business possible. Capitalism is essentially rewarding you on merit. Capitalism essentially is what brings the jobs about. It's corporatism that is the problem in today's society, where you've got all these big conglomerates just trying to buy out the local baker, the local florist. Hate corporatism, not capitalism. Capitalism gives you a chance to thrive in an economy. And wealth inequality is equality. Not everybody is meant to have money in this world. It's sad for me to have to say that when I say everyone can have money, and I'm going to try and explain the best way possible. In order to be in alignment with money or receive money or be comfortable with money, you're gonna have to do the emotional work to let go of a lot of bullshit excuses, a lot of your family's bullshit, a lot of your friends' bullshit, a lot of society's nonsense that tells you not having money is something good, being proud to being broke, or it's cool, let's all band together and hate rich people. I'm like, why would I want to hate somebody that's rich? I have no reason to hate them. In fact, if anything, I would probably admire the fact that they probably have skills and talents that I may not have developed yet within myself to get to where I am. It's sad that there are lots of people who comment that saying rich people are greedy, rich people are evil, rich people are mean. But I'm often amazed at how greedy those who don't have money are. The greed is just unbelievable. I look at it and I'm like, wow, how? But you don't see that, right? Because if one has plenty, okay, so say for instance, I'm satiated, I've been blessed with more than enough, my fridge is full, I have a nice house, I have a nice car, I live in a nice neighborhood, so I'm basically stable and balanced. Now I can think about other people. Now I can think about, okay, well, I used to do this for my client, but actually I want to do more because now I can see the value of giving more. You cannot help the poor by being one. It's just impossible, and that may sound really rude of me saying it, but it's just the reality of life. And good luck trying to get anywhere with money if you just keep thinking rich people are selfish, rich people are greedy, rich people are mean, rich people are evil. No. You're gonna find people with money who have those traits. You're gonna find people who don't have money with those traits, right? But what happens is that money is simply a magnifier. It's kind of like shining a torch on something. And whatever traits that that person has, money is simply just going to magnify those traits. If this person is genuine, they're kind, they're generous, they're a good person, you're going to see those traits shine. You're going to be like, wow. And that's the surprise that most people think it is. Like, oh, wow, she has... And I remember somebody I knew once said this, oh, wow. She was referring to somebody else. We were talking between us. And she said, wow, she's got so much money, but she's so grounded. She's so humble. She's this, she's that. Okay. That's because that person by nature is that. That's because that person has done the inner work. A lot of people, money has extreme influence, power, and sway over a person. It has the power to corrupt very quickly. What it does is it pulls up all the corruptness out of you and just shows people what you're really like. A lot of people, yeah, you do have to change to be able to bring in money. But let me try and explain it from a way that's going to make sense to a lot of people watching this. Money is one of those things, if you are not stable on the inside, if you have this, you know what, I'll get the money, fuck you, I'll show you that I'm successful, wow. We've got a lot of those people in this world who have worked day and night to be able to get to where they are, and they've got this fuck off energy, like, you know, don't come near me, you're too good, I'm too good for you, or whatever you want to call it, right? That's because they're hurting on the inside. True wealth consciousness doesn't behave that way because you know that there's more than enough for everybody to go around in this world. You don't live in lack. When I say that it is possible for every single person to have enough in this world, that's true. When I also say not everybody is going to have access to money, that is also true. These are very contradictory statements. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I look at things from an abundant lens. I'm like, okay, well, I try and look at the opportunity and the solution instead of the problem. However, I'm not naive. I've been in business for many years. I've also lived a very interesting life where I'm very aware that most people will simply always struggle for money and just die that way. Why? Because they're not willing to let go of their beliefs. They want to be right over being rich. They just want to be, I want to be right. I want to tell everybody that money is evil and money makes you dishonest and money is this and money is that. I'm going, damn. Who in your family did money hold hostage? Did money kill somebody or something? And that's a whole different story. Somebody can probably say yes to that, and I get that. But you can't look at a note in your hand and just be angry towards it all the time, because that's not going to help anybody. The point I'm trying to make over here is that you have to be very aware of your own limiting beliefs and how they're holding you back from bringing stuff in. Sometimes personally, when I've hit blocks in business, I'm like, I probably got some sort of limiting belief that I'm not aware of, and I've had to clear it. And the moment the limiting belief is cleared out, guess what? Things move again. That's the thing. And we always have to work towards those beliefs and what we're doing. So it's impossible for somebody to be in possession of money. It's impossible for someone to be successful with their business. It's impossible for somebody to be wealthy, be rich, if all you keep thinking is, oh my God, rich people are greedy. Oh my God, they spent so much money. How about people who are dying and starving in the world? Who's to say they haven't helped somebody? Why do you always feel that it is the responsibility of those who have worked extremely hard for what they have? And there is this myth that goes around that people just sit around their mansions and doing nothing. Well, no, actually, they're major players and contributors to society, which is probably why they have that money in the first place, okay? You have to ask yourself, what is it about people that are struggling with the money that they're not willing to do? The quick, dirty, and short answer is they're not willing to change themselves. They're not. I see people that struggle, they don't want to change themselves. They've got closed minds. They like their limiting beliefs. They have a friend in their circle who's now become successful. They resent that friend. They hate that friend. They make it really uncomfortable for that friend to actually share their joy, share their success. I used to have people like that around me where I just used to cringe. I'm like, I don't know what to say to this person, because I know that person's not going to be happy for me, because they're going to be like, oh, it's okay for you. Oh, you did this. Oh, I wish I could do this. And then there becomes this sour, bitter resentment that eventually, there's that saying, water finds its own level. You're going to have to find people at your level. It's not because you hate people. It's not because you're mean to people. There's a fantastic ceremonial and chaos magician that I follow on YouTube. I'm not subscribed to his channel because he doesn't particularly put stuff over and out all the time. But man, he said something that really came for me and it hit me, and this is many years ago. And he was like, look, there's you can't violate the law of money. And the law of money is simply, if you have money, you can't hang out with those who don't. That's gonna hit so many people watching this. I'm probably gonna get downvotes from it. I'm probably gonna get abused for it. I'm prepared. I really don't care. But that's not the law that I made. That's not a Spartanite law or anything. That's the law that... It's sad. It's not that, oh, you think you're better than other people. It's not the fact that you think that whatever it is. I know what it's like not to have any money. I know what it's like not to have food in my fridge. I know what it's like to panic that tomorrow it's the 1st or the 2nd and I can't pay my rent. I know what it's like not to have money for bills. I know what it's like to do so many things without money, right? And in my heart, I always used to know that I need to be able to pull myself to a point that I'm in alignment with money, so that when I have taught myself this stuff, I don't want others to suffer, people who truly want the help. I want them to suffer. I want to help them. I want to get them to where I am above me. Let's all go up together. Yeah, but there's a lot of people that live in lack consciousness. They don't want to do that. They just want to keep everybody stuck in one place, and they'll come up with rhetoric like, it's okay for some, rich people are greedy, I don't want to work too hard, I hate my work. They're always negative. Jeez, negative people have negative bank accounts. You can't tell negative people anything, because they'll always, for every solution in life, they'll find a problem. It's part of life, but you have to ask yourself that, what disempowering beliefs am I carrying with me? Do I really think this at the core? Who am I holding responsible for my success? Because there's a lot of people who don't want to take responsibility for the success. They want to moan, they want to whine, they want to whinge, they want to say all kinds of things. Oh, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. No, you know what it is? You don't work. That's all it is. You have to change your mentality, change your perspective, and you will see things line up. They may not line up today, they may not line up tomorrow, they may not line up next week, but you'll start to see momentum over time. Just remember, you cannot achieve true financial stability and true wealth freedom if you think that those who already have money are evil and they're using it for the wrong purposes. So that's money myth number 4 debunked, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have any questions, you're free to throw them in the chat box below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and yeah, see you in round 5. Take care. Bye.